Mac Buckley here with the UCCS Athletic Network. Here we have head coach Lynn Plett. Hey, Coach Plett, just got done doing the shoot-around before the game tonight against the Regis University Rangers. What are your thoughts as far as coming into the game tonight?
Well, it's interesting because it's, again, after the nice bus ride that we had last night. My thought is that I hope that we're ready and we can take advantage of the fact that we didn't have to play anybody last night with a lot of long minutes, and hopefully that'll pay off with energy today.
And, Coach, really wanted to talk to you about that because last night you didn't have your starters in for that entire game. You really utilized that deep roster that you do have. So taking that into account as far as coming into tonight's matchup, does fatigue play a factor at all, knowing that that was a long road trip and playing in a different gym tonight?
I'm about to find out. So we'll find out whether that really does play a factor or not. Hopefully it's more mental than it is physical, and we can hopefully overcome that. And we should. They should feel good about themselves that they did get a rest last night. They did, and we did get some sleep this morning before we had to come to our shoot-around too. So hopefully that will pay off, and hopefully our players will understand and play that way with confidence.
And, Coach, looking at that deep bench, Kristen Vihel with 11 points last night, Anna Schwecke with 12 points, seeing how those players are stepping up, giving you those bench points, how will that also play a factor into tonight's matchup, knowing that you do have that deep roster and you can go to those other players?
It's always good, especially when we can still win a road game and still be able to play all the way down to the end of our bench and play significant minutes for those players. It's not only good for them to get some experience, but it's also good for our other players to be able to see some things from the bench standpoint instead of being on the court all the time, because that gives you a different view sometimes. The other thing that was last night was really good is when our starters and our players who played the majority of the time were sitting out on that whole fourth quarter. They were extremely supportive and cheering really aggressively for our players on the court, and that's just, again, it kind of confirms in my mind that we really have a special group of girls on this team.
Coach, looking at the game last night against Chadron, you ended up having a lead of 31 points at one point in the game. And looking at that, Coach, and talking about how your defense really starts your offense, and how does that play a factor as far as looking at that and then coming into tonight's game against Regis, who is 7-1 in the 7-1 overall?
Well, we've got to continue to get better. There are some times, obviously, when we have breakdowns like everybody does, but the more we can cut those breakdowns down to a minimum in a course of a ball game, the more consistent and efficient we're going to be as a team. So again, it's a progression. We're getting better. I think our players are starting to realize that it is important to play defense. I think they know that now, and they know the benefits of that if we can create things on the defensive end, especially when we don't have good shooting nights. So, and that's going to come. There are going to be nights when we don't shoot. So I think it's a mental process that we're, I think, improving on all the time.
And, Coach, also looking at Regis Rangers, they just beat MSU Denver last night here at home, and playing this game on the road in a different gym, talking about that fatigue. How really, when you talk about Regis Rangers, it's a big matchup tonight. You're going to be playing them another game this season. Talking about the X factor tonight, what do you see as that being going to be the game changer in tonight's game?
Well, I think I honestly don't know if the fatigue factor will be as big an issue. I think it's more of the focus of the idea, and if our players can really focus on really what they're trying to accomplish in this game, how we need to guard certain players, what we need to do to take advantage of potential areas that we think we can really aggressively attack. If they focus on those kind of things and play hard, I think those are the bottom line of what we really need to do. So that's what our hope is, that we can focus on those kind of things. And I don't know, they played a game last night too. So the only difference was we had to travel and we're playing at their house. And so if we can overcome that and win and play as aggressively as we possibly can, I think it could be a really good ball game, because Regis is a very good team. We've seen them before when we played in the same tournament as King Kansas with them too. And they're very aggressive, very active, physical at times, and so we're going to have to have our game face on in order to win tonight.
And, Coach, talking about the big matchup, last season Mountain Lions played Regis University Rangers 3 times, ended up going with a 1-3 record. This is a new season for you, your first time playing the Regis University Rangers as the Mountain Lions head coach. Looking at those records, what are you trying to accomplish tonight, knowing that it's a big matchup and the first time that these two teams are facing each other for the season?
Well, hopefully, if that's the case, I wasn't even aware of what their record was between the two schools last year that much. So hopefully that'll be an incentive for our players to kind of pay back. And if they ended up not playing well against them last year, then hopefully some of that will carry through and they'll be motivated to play well tonight. So I think that's probably more on their hands than it is in my hands.
There you have head coach Lynn Plett with the insight before the Regis University Rangers game tonight at 5 o'clock. Mac Buckley here with the UCCS Athletic Network. Hey, thank you, Coach Plett, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, Mac.